hardened Nords with steel-bred hearts had ventured from their homes. Lost in a foreign land, they simply wandered and they roamed. Frigid winds of those barren hills meant to freeze their icy blood. In caverns they then took refuge, their hopes as dark as mud. As all seemed lost, there rose a man who chanced the mountain heights. Olaf Borvaldur searched the chill for numerous days and nights. He fell down to his knees and knew that he could take no more. He glanced up to the heavens and saw the avatar of shore. Spirit Akravine then led Olaf to the divines. He told him that the land was theirs to rule and plant and mine. Akravine tore out its heart imbued with magic's grit. Gave it to Olaf to rid the land of its grim state. Turned at last to the suffering Nords, he told his noble tale. He fixed the heart to an anchor point and its magic then unveiled. The anchored heart began sprouting life out the cave and far abroad. Ever locked with 5 keys was the one whose heart the gods.
Setbound, watch this. Watch this. Setbound is the first to research medicine robotics.
Hello there, friends, fellow travelers, Nords, Khajiits, Osmir, milk drinkers of all kinds, welcome. Just here sipping on some brandy wine mead here. You ready to start the stream? Enjoying some of these intro tracks. How's everyone doing this evening? What do you mean, what is this? My user interface? My menu? This is TK interface. Oh, this is the fan-based music overhaul. I forget the exact name for it. It's the one with all the characters standing in a row. And there's like one in a red armor and one in a golden armor. I forget the name of the mod, but it's that one. The description reads something along the lines of fan-based music. Yes. I could go into my mod list really quick. Hold on, I'm trying to link my YouTube on my phone to my PlayStation. There we are. Alright, we're in. Would we like to see my load order? Actually, I'm gonna do that really quick. Would we like to see my load order? Actually, I'm gonna do that really quick. I want to see if you notice any issues. I want to see if you notice any issues. Welcome everyone, welcome. Welcome to the Medieval Rim live stream. Welcome to the Medieval Rim live stream. Give me a second. My internet is kind of slow right now. Give me a second. My internet is kind of slow right now. Hopefully it'll load up and everything will be alright. I've never done this live stream. Especially with not with 200 mods. Okay, so hopefully this will work without crashing. Alright, so I have unofficial, obviously that's mandatory. Simple workaround framework. Just shields on back. I have the Creation Club patch. Then I have Sloth. Navigator for my NPC navigation. Then I have my HUD. Well, Sky HUD, this is, you know, it's an auto load to the top, so. And these are all of my, I guess, ESL mods. This was an interesting one I downloaded. I've gone through the full description on this one, and it does some really interesting things. It does a lot. Like, you have to go through and really pay attention to what it does to make sure you don't get any overwrites. But it does so much. Like, it really balances things so well. Yeah, I know. I don't really think it matters though. It's not really. I don't think it's detrimental. Like, I could sit there and be petty and sit there and try to force it to load closer to, but like, I don't know. It is what it is. Like, I feel like top loading mods don't really matter as much, or too much. Yeah, I know, but what do I do, dude? Like, like, this is a top loading mod. This is a top loading mod. That's a top loading mod. So these are all gameplay overhauls. So should I have like this down here? And then have like this is all I have for like my SMIM now is I have this newer mod that does all the textures, does the same thing SMIM was doing, basically. Like maybe that, like that, because that's got It's a dungeon pack, but it's got encounters. Fixes and loads right after. Okay. Alright, so. You're right, actually. So, like this. There. And. This. No, this is a gameplay overhaul. What about simply more variety? Where does simply more variety go, bro? Because that's a top loader too. Is it though? I think it is. Yeah, it's above the venture pack. It has to be. SMV loads in your appearance section after skin textures. Really? What's SMV? Simply more. Yeah, what are you talking about SMV, bro? Simply more variety? Oh, okay. That goes down here. Should I have all these lower than my world space edits? Because I've seen people argue about whether or not you should have character editor type stuff at the top or it should be on the bottom. Really? So all this shit needs to go close to last. Alright. Like how close to last? Like these are all my animations. Before animations, okay. So like before Wildcat too? Yeah, because that has animations. Okay. I thought so, dude. That's how I used to have it. Fucking AI, bro. Like straight up, that's how I used to have it, dude. Fucking AI's been fucking me up. I should just use what I know.
Straight up, that's how I used to have it, dude. Fucking AI's been fucking me up. I should just use what I know.
No wonder shit's been janky. Because I used to have a lot more mods. It used to run a lot more smooth, man. I've been wondering why. Fucking AI, dude. Alright, we got another person here. I gotta watch the language. Hello, welcome. Welcome to Medieval Rim testing. Right now we are doing some reworks of our load order. Alright, so that should be good. Alright, so I've got fixes. This is basically patches, fixes, it goes underneath, goes at the top, simple workaround. Alright. Navigator, what's your style fences? So, Sir Andrew, are these fine where they are here? Should these be a little bit lower? I'm thinking more like around here. Actually make more sense. Should have really gone through and nitpicked at this thing before I started a live stream, but it is what it is. I don't really care. To be honest with you. I really just don't care. It is what it is. I do have my water last. Or at least close to last. No. You can't. This is, dude, this is an automatic. This is a, whatever, ESP or whatever. Auto loads to the top. Yeah. ESP. Natural waterfalls, you cannot move. You can move the add-on, you can move the other parts of it, but you can't move the master file. Okay, so it needs to be the last ESM. Okay, so that would be here. That would be there. I mean, what about hardcore mode? Because all that does is just, I don't really think that matters. All it does is change the conditions for your save conditions. And a little bit of your attributes and skills. I don't think it really matters, that one. These are pretty much paired, significant, trees. These all affect landscape. This is affecting interiors. Maybe this goes lower. Maybe I put this here. And then, I mean, this is affecting gameplay. Maybe I put this here. And then, yeah, I think that pretty much looks good there, dude, for my ESP, or my ESM. So after after your unofficial Skyrim patch, CC fixes and misc fixes. This one. Yeah. Okay, so like that. Or maybe like that, right? Yeah, I feel more comfortable with that one. Oh, that's right, it does say put it above. You're right, I forgot about that, dude. Set it at least one position higher. You're right. No wonder I wasn't getting the difference the last time I loaded in. Wow. I totally forgot about that. That's why you need to read descriptions. That's why you always read descriptions, folks. You always make sure to read your descriptions. Even experienced modders forget to do it from time to time. Very important. Thanks, bro. I've totally forgot about that. It says right there. Tree scale, load at least one position higher. Okay. I'm glad I've done this, dude, because I think I've just been kind of lazy about it, bro. Honestly. Just forgetting like rules of thumb. Does that look good the way it is? These are all top. From here, these are all ESP. From here, 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 all the way, these are all ESP. So all that looks good. Navigator before sloth. Really? You sure? Is that how you have it? Okay. Alright, well, if this is fixing landscapes, right, then my thinking is the navigation should go after, because you want the NPCs to follow the path of the navigation based on the fixes it's making. I don't know. I haven't had any issues with any of my NPCs running into rocks or running into things. So I'm just going to keep that the way it is based on higher to lower rule. Being that this is a bigger megabyte mod, I'm just going to keep that the way it is. It works fine the way it is, man. I really don't think it matters. And if it does matter, you kind of want the fixes, because if you have a navigator mesh mod that's not really considering this, and then if you like the proper patch that's, where is the patch? I have the patch, don't I? Isn't there a patch for it? There should be a patch for it. There it is. So yeah, I should have this closer. So if you have the patch, so something that's patching, here's my thinking. If you want the navigator, would be vanilla if you didn't have sloth. It would be vanilla, correct? But if you have sloth, damn, this is a hard one, dude. I know, but I can't do it because of the other ESPs blocking it, bro. This isn't flagged. The patch isn't flagged. The patch isn't flagged, so I can't put it. That's the closest I can get it. This is the closest I can get it. Unless I go offline and force it. I could go offline right before I play and I can organize it that way, but I just don't care. It's not, like, it's just not going to make a conflict. As long as this mod, this mod, this mod, this mod, this mod doesn't conflict with Sloth, it's not going to matter. And I really don't think Natural Waterfalls is going to conflict either. Because it does its own edits. So my thinking is, this is where I'm at, okay? If I have Sloth above Navigator, then there's a potential there's a potential for Navigator to overwrite Sloth. But if I have I know, because it's based on a vanilla overwrite, though. Okay, so Navigator... You're saying Navigator goes up here. Should I do Navigator after unofficial? What's up, bro? Yo, what's up, bloody? You're saying I should do Navigator after unofficial? Right before Sloth. Dude. Okay. Alright, I'll do it. But if I start having deer fucking running into trees and shit, I'm blaming you. Just saying. Alright, bro. Alright, so everything else looks good? The HUD can't really be changed location, though. So HUD... Okay, so move the HUD down. Move it down as low as I can, right? Alright. Deer run into trees if the trees are not vanilla. I know, dude, but the way I've had it, they really don't. They really don't, dude. The way I had it, they don't. I had Navigator after Sloth, and they weren't doing. They were literally fucking. It was like realistic as fuck, bro. They weren't running into shit. Before Natural Waterfalls? Really? Why? It doesn't even really matter. It's a 470 kilobyte. It's not even gonna, like, make the game stress, though. I know, if I want to stay strict to the logical load order, though, I should really do it that way. Because I need to practice what I preach. That's why I don't post shit and be like, here, copy my load order. Because, bro, I'm still learning, man. This shit's difficult. Yeah, I know. That's mostly what I focus on, man. Like, here's my basic thinking. If it's broken, don't fix it. If it's broken, fix it. And that's what I've done for the last few years of modding, is basically trial and error. If it's broken, fix it. If it's not broken, don't fix it. So yeah, I might have a little bit of disorganization, but at the same time, my shit don't look like, here bro, copy my list. Got like shit like all over the place, like one dude, you know what I'm saying? Like I understand a little bit. I'm just a regular dude trying to get in and figuring out how it all works, man. I'm not a gatekeeper. So what do you think about, so everything else should be right, because I follow logical load order pretty much to the T from that point. We have a little bit of disagreement on certain things, but so encounters based on logical load order, encounters go at the top, This is what I have for my encounters. I have hand place enemies, and then I have set for the Great Hunt. I've used this one to replace Ragnarok, because this one actually, if you read the description, it actually does its own version of adding in different sized animals. It adds in cubs, bear cubs, it adds in wolf pups, and it actually gives them schedules. And those other mods that were recently ported, the reason why I don't use them is because I feel like they make the animals too passive. And so there's no challenge. There's no challenge to the actual wildlife. If you use mods like real wildlife, you'll have wolves wandering through towns, and I just don't think that's realistic in my opinion. So I've chosen set for the Great Hunt, and what this does is it really adds a great diversity to the animals that are already available in the vanilla game, and it also gives them all schedules that they can all follow, and it gives you really interesting encounters that are not too bloated. I was experiencing that with that mod, and I don't know why I was. I've tested it, dude. I literally deleted every other mod I had regarding encounters. I deleted the extended encounters. I deleted everything, and for some reason I had wolves still wandering through towns, and the AI packages were messed up. And that could be because I have this mod here, and I won't drop this mod, and I'll tell you why. I refuse to drop this mod. This mod is an older mod, but it does so much. Where is it? This mod does so much to add to the realism and immersion. PS4 better combat. It's better than anything else out there, in my opinion, because it really gives different AI packages to different styles of enemies, including animals. And it's the best one out there. I think it's better than even some of the PC mods that are out there for what it does. Giants have ability to flee, and this gives like every different animal has its own little unique AI package with this mod. And it's just an interesting mod that people kind of overlook. Right, but you're limiting yourself from also expanding on the animal combat by just focusing on that. This is also a really good mod that people overlook. It's an outdated mod. It's an older mod, but it's a really good mod. And this mod affects your critical chance. You can read the description here, see what it does. It's super good, man. If you're using, especially if you're using something like Wildcat, and you have a damage system, because if you want realistic combat, if you're striking an enemy and you're making them bleed, that's where the critical hit chance comes in most games. If you're playing like newer games like Elden Ring, it has a high critical hit percentage in that game, especially if you're using like bleed weapons. And so if you combine this with a mod like weapons and armor tweaks, This affects different stats and different effects of different weapons and armor. And so you can actually, what I've done is stack the stats and changes made by weapons and armor tweaks, along with a few other changes. I have quite a list. You can't forget about this top loading mod here that I have that also affects weapon changes. So I made sure that it doesn't get overwritten, because that's important. That's an important thing to acknowledge when you're modding, is to make sure you don't have any overwrites. So this does so much. If you read this does so much to all the weapon changes and balancing. But you really don't need anything else. Yeah, I used to use dads, but it was kind of limited in a number of different ways. I feel like dads kind of uses a lot of older mods and incorporates things like haste. But yeah, I've just opted not to. I use his food overhaul. Where is it? Where is it? Oh, it's down here. So I use his. I use this. I use his food and alchemy overhaul, and this is all I use from dads. They're good. They're good, but they limit you from being able to use other things. I've opted out of dads to use fair tweaks. So this is a mod by Sir Ruin. I know I don't use survival. I use I need. I use I need. I don't like survival. I don't think survival's balanced. So if you just go through and you read fair tweaks from Sir Ruin, yeah, that's hard to do. It's not even it's not recommended to do that. But if you go through and you look at the fair tweaks, if you just read the description, it does so much. It changes, overhauls the entire game. And this is what I've basically used for my tweaks, for my gameplay tweaks. So just take a look for a second, Sir Andrew. Look at what this mod does for combat alone. It does a lot, okay? I'm not going to go through the whole thing. It does a lot. And I've gone through and I've had to read the whole entire thing to make sure it's compatible with my list. And it is. It does a lot more than dads. I used to have dads, but I think this one is a better match for my hardcore gameplay. It's added recipes for armor sets. It does so much. Like, it does so much. It's a highly overrated mod. Also increases your jump height, which is interesting, because I can't tell you how many times I needed to get out of situations The jump height increase is pretty interesting. Adds an actual element to combat. It's more Elden Ring, Dark Souls. Also the edits it makes to magic. It nerfs magic. So you won't run into overpowered mages anymore. The problem that I've run into with a lot of combat overhaul mods and a lot of mods is in general that change magic and change mages is that mages will be fucking OP as fuck. They're just overpowered in Skyrim in general. This mod alone effectively nerfs mages. So you're not going to run into overpowered mages with this mod. This mod by itself will nerf mages down to a level where they're actually fair, on equal par with warriors. That's why I like this mod so much. I've been using it for years, and it's called Sir Ruin's Fair Tweaks. Highly recommend you check it out. I understand, but I don't like getting smacked by a mage when I'm level 50 and it's just some random traveling mage around, Whiterun area that should be generally a low level area, and he can fire spell me and kill me within a matter of seconds. Just doesn't make sense to me on an immersion from an immersion kind of like standpoint. I feel like combat should be balanced. Right here, dual casting a spell costs 3 times the magicka for 2.5 times the power. So it actually boosts the strength of magic, but it costs more. So let me retract my statement about this mod before. It doesn't actually nerf the magicka. It nerfs the cost and increases the power. Actually, no, it does nerf the power. I'm sorry. It nerfs the power from 2.8 to 2.5. So it just balances the power out. It's not really changing it too much, it's just balancing it. And so you're not running into mages, and you're not running into people that are low level or lower level than you, smacking the shit out of you just because they're a mage. Now this mod gives you a little bit more balance to your combat experience with mages. You can run up to them with a shield, especially if you have Sekiro. And what Sekiro does is time block generates the defender's stamina and damages the attacker's stamina. Time block negates weapon arrow damage. It gives you 50% magic resistance. It can guard, reduce potency of everything, including DOT effects. So you can block Dragon's Breath. You can block arrows with Sekiro combat. Sekiro combat pairs perfectly with Sir Ruin's Fair Tweaks. What's the bug? What's the training bug? You know what? I'll smack the shit out of Farkas. Is it breaking? Is it gameplay breaking? So you just use a two-handed weapon and you don't block. Or don't time block. Just time it where you don't time block, I guess. That's a workaround. You don't have to engage the time block every time. You could even crouch and beat them that way. Yeah, I'm not giving that up, dude. Sekiro's too good, bro. Sekiro's way too good. Yeah, I don't care. I don't even do... you know what I mean, dude? Sekiro's too good to let it go, bro. It's just too good. It's too good to let go. People have to find their own workarounds for that one. I'm sure they can. I'm sure there's some kind of workaround. You can crouch sneak and make your way through it somehow or something. But I can't stress enough how good this critical correction mod is. Because if you play a lot of next gen games, if you're playing the combat, they all have really high critical hit chances. And so a lot of people use like a realistic combat add-on. Like Wildcat has a realistic combat add-on. But you don't need that because it actually will make your game super unbalanced when you get higher level. There won't be a point in playing it past level 25 if you use a realistic, because all your enemies are going to be super cheese, super easy to kill. Defeats the purpose. But if you have a critical correction mod, this actually increases the challenge of combat, and so you actually get a higher critical chance when you're hitting enemies and engaging with enemies. And so this gives you a more balanced combat system. And I've done away with all those full package combat overhauls for first person that are available on Bethesda.net, because they're all buggy. And so I've gone with Al Cool J's independent overhaul. So I have the first person dual wielding, I have first person katana, first person dagger, first person axe, first person one-handed, first person warhammer, and the whole list, because these are substantially better mods with better UI and better better idols for each weapon. Each weapon has its own idol, and they're pretty interesting. I call it focus mode. So you have your base third person combat. That's a completely different stance. And then you have your focus mode, what I call focus mode, where you go into a entirely different first person type of combat mode. And so I have attack animations for my third person combat overhaul. I have attack animations, and then I have 3-hit one-handed attack animations. I have heavy blade 2-handed attack animations. I have ultimate knockdown, and I have large stagger. And then ultimate dodge, and then the refined movement series. athletic combat, and then the patch. And then I have my environment AI. I think this mod's really good. It adds to kind of like what athletic combat does. It adds its own extra feature. It tunes the rate of which each creature in the game can turn individually. This is a highly overrated mod, and it's a newer mod that most people would probably pass up, but I highly suggest you grab it. Just makes your animals generally have a more realistic AI, and it works with real wildlife. I've tested it. It makes real wildlife AI actually work a lot better. Just read this description for just a second, let you guys get that. Like Draugr stabs are slow and have more choppy, narrow cones. Wolves can miss their leaps at you. Bears are slow but have bigger reach. Giants are cumbersome, and it does a lot more than what it says. It's based on Mortal Enemies. If anybody's familiar with the Mortal Enemies mod series from Xbox. That's fine if you don't need it. This is an interesting mod. Extra sound settings allows you to have an even louder ambience, background ambience. So you can pair this with certain mods. You can pair this with ambience overhaul. And you'll actually get more ambience for things like waterfall, and you actually get extra added settings that you can change with this one. It's a pretty good mod. I've opted out of the EBT, enhanced blood textures, because enhanced blood textures kind of gives you an issue where if you have too many piled up bodies, the game can actually try to render too many textures, and it doesn't matter what kind of system you're on. It's going to cause frames. It's going to cause frame issues. So I've opted to just have dynamic impacts. It's just like a basic rundown. Mods generally go at the bottom. I've learned that race overhauls generally need to go after alternate start mods, because what happens is if you have your race mod above an alternate start mod, is the race records will pretty much always, in every case, of every alternate start mod I've ever tried, will have your character show up in the character creation menu fully dressed with armor, so you won't be able to see your character anymore. They'll be fully dressed with armor. You won't be able to see your character anymore. So if you have any kind of race mods, rule of thumb that I've learned, load your race mods after your alternate start mod. I know, I understand, dude. That's logical load order. But I've learned that I've learned this, man, from experience. If you ever load into a game where you have an alternate start mod, no, dude, it's every mod. It's literally Skyrim Unbound. It's Simple Start, the one that loads you in Markarth that I showed you, does the same thing. Every one of them does the same thing. Okay? I've tested every alternate start mod, they all do the same thing. The only way to make it work is to load your race mod after the alternate start mod. Well, good for you, bro. It doesn't work for me. It does, okay, so it does if I'm on a brand new list and I haven't made any saves and I haven't had anything baked into my game. That's the only way it works. That's with Imperious, whatever it is, by Anai Scion. That's with every race mod I've tried. It's the same thing. They all do the same shit. You load in, the descriptions won't show up. The descriptions won't show up. And you'll have vanilla descriptions for your races. And it won't show up. If you've gone and you've started a save and you've gone and you edited your mod list at all, that's what it does. If you keep it the same and you don't mess with it, then it's fine. But as soon as you mess with it, as soon as you delete, say, Imperious or whatever it's called for the race, a race mod, or Subtle Race Overhaul, the one I have, they all do the same thing. They all revert back to vanilla. The only way to overcome that is to load them below your alternate start mod. That's the workaround I figured it works, man, and that's what I'm sticking with. Because I could go and I could bomb my whole entire load order, and I could put this where it needs to belong, which I know where it's supposed to go. It's supposed to go way up the top. But because this shit's jacked up and fucking retarded, this is where I have it. I'm telling you, dude, this shit's frustrating as fuck. Bro, you learn shit. You learn so much shit about this shit, bro, and people will try to tell you, because I mean, like, people that have a lot of knowledge and know, because like but their experience is totally different because this shit's so wonky, so hard. That's why I can't wait till I get a fucking PC, bro. I can't wait till I get a fucking PC because this shit's so wonky, dude. And it has nothing to do with, like, people have their own experience and their own perspective on things, and I understand. And I take people's advice with open, you know, I'm open to people's advice. I'm not, you know, the whole thing is, it's like once you learn certain things about how to organize your load order, it gets really difficult. Because somebody might say something and then you're thinking, you have to second guess yourself. And it's all kind of like a science, man. It's all work, really. But I appreciate every little bit of advice anyone gives me. I really do. That's 100% true right there. That's real. Might not agree with people, but I appreciate every little bit of advice anyone gives me, because it's all about a learning experience. Alright, well, I would like to kind of discuss real quick my cities here. So I have several great cities overhauls. I have several things added back from Arena that were taken out of Skyrim. So I have several cut series towns. I have Granite Hill. This was cut out of Skyrim. This is a mod by Unorth Dog. And you can grab the full recut series if you want. but I've just gone with this one. And this one's really important to my build here. Skyrim Industrialized. This one gives a real medieval industrial vibe to Skyrim, and it alters and edits all the major towns and gives them smokestacks, different various things that are more reminiscent of like a medieval time era. The issue with Skyrim Unbound is that once you've run it on a playthrough more than 4 or 5 times, the scripts start to bug out. So, say I'm running Skyrim Unbound and I make a save. As soon as I load into the game, I start playing on that save. If I decide to delete that save, start a new game for a new test or whatever, what Skyrim Unbound does is it seems to like stack scripts, so sometimes your game won't even start. Like I've had it where like I start one game and I'll play with Skyrim Unbound, but if I go to start another game, the game literally won't start.